morning, Manandan, Department of Computer Applications. Welcome you all to the second day of our 1 week session on advanced research and quality publication. Today, we have an eminent personality, Dr. Shailesh S., Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Science, CUSAT, as a resource person for the topic Let's Explore Software Tools for Research. Dr. Shailesh S. has awarded with BTech in Computer Science and Engineering from Kerala University, and MTech in Computer and Information Science from CUSAT. Dr. Shailesh received his PhD from Department of Computer Applications, CUSAT, under the guidance of Dr. M.V. Judy. He qualified to his in the years 2017-18 and was there in 2019. He also cracked various 2013, 2016, 17, and 18. Dr. Shailesh has industrial experience as a senior software engineer in the IT industry and more than 4 years of teaching and research experience. He served as a resource person and as a trainer for the different invite talks, technical sessions, and hands-on workshops at different universities, colleges, IT industry, and government institutions in the domain of artificial intelligence, machine learning, and computer vision. He is also a reviewer of international journals and conferences. The research area are algorithms and theoretical computer science, artificial intelligence, computer vision and image processing, information retrieval and data mining, machine learning and deep learning, text mining, and natural language processing. Sir, we are very happy to have with us for the session and welcome you, sir, to the session. Over to you, sir.
Hey, ma'am, am I audible?
Sir,
Am I audible? Respond.
yes, sir.
You're audible, sir.
Let me share my screen. Is my presentation
Yes, it is visible, sir.
So, first of all, I would like to thank the organizers of this program for inviting me for this prestigious FDP conducted by Department of Computer Applications, FISAT. So today I'm here to give you a glimpse of the ideas regarding the software tools for research. So I have organized like first we are going to have an introduction to the research process and what is research. Then we're moving to what are the difficulties we are facing by doing the research process, carrying out the research process. Then how we can all of the tools to make the of tools that can be used for making our research process easier. So is there any problem with the voice?
So it is breaking sometimes.
Is it okay now?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. So I think without much delay, we can move to our topics. So, our current discussion of and the topic of discussion is let's explore software tools for research. Okay. So, before getting into the core aspects of this talk, we have to begin with what is research. Okay. So, as a word, ma'am, there is some noise from some participants.
Okay, sir, we'll take
Kindly
care.
request all participants to mute the mic. So, first we have to get an idea about what is research. Okay. So, as a simple word, the meaning is like the word research originated from the old French word researcher, meaning to search and search again. So, the systematic investigation into and study of materials and source in order to establish facts and reach new conclusions is actually known as research. And according to different scholars, philosophers, and scientists, we have different varieties of definitions for research. But in a simple or in a very layman view, we can say research is something that we are trying to research. That is, we are searching and searching again. Okay. So, a formal definition for research can be like this. A research is common parlance, refers to a search for knowledge. It may be defined as a scientific and systematic search of pertinent information on a specific topic or area. That is, a research can be a systematic and scientific way of searching for knowledge. Okay. And it can be on any topic or area. And by PM Cook, the definition of research is like research is an honest, exhaustive, intelligent searching for facts and their meanings or implications with reference to a given problem. So the words are very important. That is, we should have a problem first, then we have to find out the facts and the implications for referring that problem, and it should be carried out in a honest, exhaustive, and intelligent way. The product or the finding of a given piece of research should be authentic and verifiable, and the contribution to knowledge in the field of study. Okay, that is every outcome produced by a research or every outcome coming as an output for a research should be authentic and it should be verifiable, and it should some contribute to some something to the field of study. Okay. And by Thomas Edison, research is simply anything that won't sell. I don't want to invent. Its sale is proof of utility and the success. And another famous definition of research is like research may be defined as a method of studying problem whose solutions are to be derived partially or wholly from facts. And so many other definitions like research is considered to be the more formal, systematic, intensive process of carrying on the scientific method of analysis. It involves a more systematic structure of investigation, usually resulting in some sort of formal records of procedures and a report of results or conclusion. And the last one is like research is a systematic effort to gain new knowledge. Okay. So from all these definitions, what we can conclude is we have to carry out a process in a systematic and scientific way to find out something new or partially new with the available evidence in an exhaustive way. Okay. So we have to dedicate some kind of uh, effort, some kind of what authenticity, some kind of verifiability for the research. Okay. So when you look into the research domain, we can actually classify research into different classes. Okay, different types of research are there. The basic classification or the one way of classifying the result is like basic and applied research. Okay, so as the name suggests, basic research involves developing and testing theories and hypotheses in response to the intellectual interest of the researcher rather than for practical reasons. That is, most of the management, commerce, and the literature kind of researchers are basic research, and it is trying to prove some theories or testing some theories and hypotheses more than Stuti. Yes, can you mute your mic? Some noise is coming somewhere. Okay. So rather than applying it for a practical problem, we are trying to prove or developing or testing some kind of theories and hypotheses. And in the case of applied research, what we are doing is it is the application of knowledge to solve problems of intermediate concern. That is, most of the technology and engineering and science research are carrying out in a applied research way. Okay. And the next category is scientific and engineering research. Okay, so there is no logical distinction between the methods used by the engineers and those employed by the pure scientists. Both type of researchers are concerned with confirming their theoretical predictions. However, they differ in the scale of their experiments and their motives. That is, in the case of scientific and engineering research, the procedures or the methods we are using is always same, but they differ in the scale of their experiments. Okay. So in the engineering approach, the artistry of the design and the spirit of making something working is so essential. That is, we have to build something new for an engineering research. But in the case of scientific research, we are trying to prove something in a scientific and theoretical. And evaluative and developmental research. There are two research approaches directly towards solving problems. That is evaluative as well as the development research focus on solving the problems. That is, evaluative research, also known as evaluation research or program evaluation, is a type of research you can use to evaluate a product or concept and collect data that helps improve your solution. And in the case of developmental research, it involves the search for instruction that yield a better course of action. Okay. And two more categories are there, that formulative and verification research. The formulative research is to identify problems for more precise investigation, to develop hypotheses as well as to gain the insights and increase familiarity with the problem area. And the goal of verification research is to obtain evidence to support or refute the formulated hypothesis. Okay. So before starting with your research, first you have to identify what type of research you are using. Okay, what type of research you are going to carry out. It can be a formulative or verification, or it can be evaluative and developmental. It can be scientific or engineering, and it can be basic or applied. Okay, so we have to figure out what type of research you are going to carry out. Okay, and when you after you finalizing your research objectives, or after you finalizing the research area and a particular problem, we have to follow a sequence of steps. We have to follow a sequence of steps that may take years and years to complete. Okay. So research is an extremely cyclic process. So we have to first understand what is a research process. Okay. So after identifying what type of research you are going to do, you have to identify, or you have to understand the steps or the pipeline of a research process. Okay, so a research is extremely cyclic process rather than doing a waterfall model after completing one phase to another phase to another phase. It is actually a cyclic process. We have to do the same phase repeatedly over the due course. Okay, so research is an extremely cyclic process. In later stages might necessitate a review of earlier work. Okay, in the first stages we have to review the earlier works that are already happened in our particular area and domain. And this is not a weakness of the process, but it is a part of built-in error correction machinery. That is, we have to do a thorough background study on the related work happened in our particular related to our particular problem and the domain. Then only we can understand what are the research gaps there, and we can then introduce our ideas and solutions to fill that gaps. Okay. And because of the cyclic nature of research, it can be difficult to determine where to start and when to stop. Okay. So when you look into the entire pipeline of research process, you can see first step, the first very important step is to define the topic. That is, according to the interest of a researcher or according to the need of a particular situation, we have to define the topic of our research. Okay, we have to find out a particular topic. Okay, then we have that problem may be very broad. In the first, in a in eagle eye view, the problem may be very large. Okay, so the next step is to narrow the problem. Okay, it is a very important step in the research process because we have to narrow the problem. Because most of the research, for the most of the research process, we are expecting some kind of outcome at the end of the day, and we have to complete the research process in a particular span of time. So if a problem is very broad, we will be having some kind of difficulties to complete the entire research in a span. Okay, in a particular with a particular span. So the first and foremost thing you have to do is, after identifying the problem or the domain of your research, you have to narrow the topic. Okay, so according to my experience, I am very much inclined with the classical dance. Okay, and I'm a computer science postgraduate. So when I start thinking about my PhD, what I have done is I should have a thorough knowledge of the domain I am going to explore, and I have to find out some scientific methods to solve the problems in that particular domain. So what I have done is, since I'm a dancer and I'm very much inclined to the classical dance, I have chosen the Indian classical dance as my research domain, and I apply the techniques from artificial intelligence and machine learning and deep learning kind of stuff to solve the problems in uh, the domain of classical dance. So when I first starting with my research, I have given a title like the computational analysis of South Indian classical dance. Okay, computational analysis of South Indian classical dance. But when I start doing my research, and I found that if I give a title like this, computational analysis on South Indian classical dance, if I give a title like this, I have to do research for years and years to complete that particular topic. So what I have done is I just gone through all the works that is already done in this particular domain. So I could find that some people are doing some kind of computational things with the hand gestures, facial expressions, and movements in the dance like that. So I thought like I want to do something new out of this. So I have gone through the theoretical aspect of the classical dance concept. So finally, I arrived at the conclusion that no one has actually explored the spatial and temporal patterns that is depicted through a dance using the videos and images. So I have just narrowed down my topic to identification of spatial temporal patterns in South Indian classical dance. So from the computational analysis of South Indian classical dance, I have narrowed my topic to identification of spatial temporal patterns in uh, South Indian classical dance, so that I can do more specific research on this. So that below that particular topic, I have done some spatial patterns included in the hand gestures and foot postures, and some temporal patterns included in the movement of dance, or conveying some kind of meaning to the audience. Okay, so it is very important to reduce or the narrow down the topic of your research. So then only you can effectively find out a systematic pipeline of your research process. Okay, then after that, what you have to do is you have to do some kind of background information. So, okay, gather some kind of background information that can be the domain study or the literature review process. All these things included in the background information. Okay, then with this background information or the literature review, we might think like, so these things are actually already addressed in this particular domain. Why a particular problem in this domain is not still explored, or why can't we do a particular problem or solve a particular problem in that way that is not explored by anyone else. Okay, if you are getting that kind of thought, that is we are finding out a research gap in our domain. Okay, so with that research gap, you can actually formulate some kind of research questions. Okay, so the fourth step is create research questions. Okay, so in my problem itself, after the narrow domain is like spatio-temporal patterns in South Indian classical dance. So I look into different spatial and temporal patterns that can be explored in the dance domain with the images and videos. Then I found that the hand gestures is a spatial thing, the foot postures is a spatial thing, and the abhinaya is actually another spatial as well as a temporal pattern. So I have explored these particular research question. How can I build a pipeline, an artificial intelligence pipeline to identify the hand gestures? Okay, how can I create an effective deep learning model to deal with the temporal and spatial patterns present in the Angika Abhinaya? Okay, so like that, I have formulated different research questions after gathering the information on our on particular domain. Okay, then the next thing is the most important part. We have to implement, or we have to suggest our solutions and implement it. That is the next phase. Okay, development of our solutions. Okay, so after developing that solution, we have to evaluate it. That is, we have to evaluate our solution, or we have to compare, or we have to be critical about the evaluation of our process in such a way that we should bring something new to that particular domain, or comparing with the existing work in our domain, we have to do something new, or we should come up with some kind of improvements in our solutions. Okay, now the another important phase is whatever whatever information or fact you have taken from other researchers or other community, you have to give credits to them. Okay, so whatever techniques you have adopted from other researchers, or whatever theories you have taken from other scientists, or other contributions, you have to give credits to them. For that, you have to cite your work with the existing works. And the last one is reporting your research. Reporting your research includes different ways. You can report your research as a conference publication. You can report your research as a book chapter. You can report your research as a what research article or a journal paper, or you can report your research as a letter. You can report your research as a thesis. Okay, so you can report your research in different ways so that uh, we can make them published to the entire community, so that we will get the acceptance for our research. So this is the entire pipeline that is we need to follow while doing a research process. Just go through the all steps. That is, first define the topic, narrow down the topic, gather the information, create the research questions, develop the develop an implementation for the solutions, and evaluate our results, then cite the sources and write the or report the research. Okay, so then only you can complete the entire process of research. Okay, now what are the challenges we are facing while going through these steps? Okay, what are the different uh, problems or the different hurdles we need to face while doing the entire research or entire research? Okay, so at times the first step determines the nature of the last step to be undertaken. Okay, nature of the last step to be undertaken. If subsequent procedures have not been taken into account in the earlier stages, that is, if you are not forecasting what happened, what will happen at the end, the serious difficulties may arise, which may even prevent the completion of the study. Okay, so if you are having a proper insight of completion of your research, you may be stuck at several stages of the research process. So the important thing is at the beginning itself, you should have a proper focus or a proper insight how you are going to complete this research, what should be the expected outcomes, and what should be the expected deliverables. Okay, so that is the one important thing. And one should remember that the various steps involved in a research process are not mutually exclusive, nor they are separate and distinct. Okay, some of the process involved in the research or some of the stages involved in the research process might not be mutually exclusive or nor they are separate and distinct. That is, you may be carry out or you may be follow some sequence of stages. In some cases, you can do some stages in a parallel manner. Okay, so you have to find out which all things are non-conflicting and which all things can be done parallelly or which all things need to be done in a sequential manner. Okay, and they do not necessarily follow each other in specific order, and the researcher has to be constantly anticipating at each step in the research process the requirements of the subsequent steps. Okay, so you have to be very careful about each step you are going to carry out, and you must complete the prerequisites for one stage before starting with a particular stage. Okay, so these are the major challenges we are facing in the research process. So how software tools can be helpful to you? Okay, how software tools can help you? Okay, so research is undoubtedly one of the most painstaking and thorough process. Irrespective of your discipline, stage of work, and career, research can be an arduous and time-consuming task. So it is irrespective of your discipline and the stage of work or the career or the problem you are trying to solve, the research can be a very cumbersome task. Okay, so right from browsing the library shelves for literature, performing the experiments, evaluating and analyzing results, writing papers and reports, to publish papers, and researchers are always running with the clock hands. Okay, so these are the pain points we need to understand. That is, from the very beginning of browsing the library shelves for the literature, then performing the experiments, evaluating and analyzing the results, writing papers and reports, and to publish papers, we are having very, very much difficulty. So we are having a number of hurdles to solve. Okay, so no matter what your research or field, there is a number of software tools out there to help you to organize your notes, cite your sources, find important articles, connect with colleagues, and writing reports and much more. Okay, so we have a variety of software tools and online tools. There's a voice noise.
ജസ്റ്റ് തൊലി പോയിട്ടില്ല വലിയവേ അപ്പൊ നടക്കുകയൊക്കെ ചെയ്യുവാണെങ്കിൽ നമ്മള്
എല്ലാ വേദനയും കൂടി അങ്ങോട്ട്
Participants, can you
തലയിലേക്ക്
please mute your mic? There's a noise.
ഉള്ളിൽ
So there is a number of software tools out there to help you to organize your notes, cite your source, find important articles, connect with colleagues, writing reports, and much more. Okay. So the main focus of this particular presentation is to have what the possible or the possible opportunities or what are the possible options we have to make our job much easier with softwares. Okay. So I have categorized the use of software tools into different levels. So we will be discussing each of these sections in a very effective way. Okay. So the first tool that you can explore for the research, starting from our first stage of research, that is, we have to find out the domains and the related literatures, right? After fixing the problem. So for that, there is a variety of scholarly search engines rather than from using a Yahoo or Google or some common search engines. You are actually availed with a variety of scholarly research engines. Okay, scholarly search engines. So after hours spent scrolling through Google and pulling up endless clickbait results, you are frustrated with the internet, right? So for that, you can actually do, or you can actually utilize or explore or exploit the tools like Google Scholar, Google Books, Microsoft Academics, ResearchGate, Wolfman Farm Alpha, worldwidescience.org, IEEE IEEE Explore Digital Library, LCBO Science Direct to get the contents you needed for your research. That can be any research articles, journals, or books, or conference proceedings, or lecture notes, whatever it is. You can actually find out the contents related to your particular research using these kind of sophisticated search engines. Okay, so you may all are familiar with Google Scholar. Is my browser visible to you or still the presentation? Can anyone confirm?
Yes, sir. We can see.
Yes, sir. It is visible.
Google Scholar. So Google Scholar is actually a good option. So you can search your yoga posture classification is one mark. You can actually find out so many articles or the related things to the keyword you are using. So like this, you can actually explore these tools in a very effective way to find out the or finding out the contents needed for your research. And IEEE Explore is another. So you are all familiar with this, right? So using this IEEE Explore, you can actually search for a particular topic. Classical. Classical. So after giving this keyword, you will get all the works related to classical dance that is published in one of the IEEE article publication. Like, it can be conferences, it can be journals, it can be books. Okay, so suppose you want to get the journal papers, you can just use this filter to get the uh, what relevant results for your particular search. Okay, so you can explore these kind of scholarly search engines for finding out the contents that is related to your particular research. Okay, so just remember, you have Google Books, Google Scholar, Microsoft Academics, ResearchGate, uh, worldwide science.org, IEEE Explore, and Science Direct, LCB Science Direct, and so many others are there. Okay. And the other very important tool you have to understand or you have to familiar with is the reference management tools. Okay, the reference management tools. So reference management tools help in managing the literature used for research development, thus offering an alternative to a time-consuming task for research. Okay, so in the olden days, what we have done is we will find out the research paper, we will take out the printouts, and we will we will find out the gist of that particular research paper, and we will note it down in our notebooks. Okay, so after months of research, you may forget like what I have done or what I have already reviewed. Okay, so there will be a lot of challenges while dealing with the related works in our particular domain or managing the references. Okay, so these reference management tools will help you to organize articles and their citations. Okay, organize articles and their citations, share them with each other researchers, share them with other researchers, then detect duplicate entries, format the list of references, and search and replace any reference, etc. Okay, search and replace any reference, etc. Okay, so using these kind of tools, you can actually get rid of all these issues. Okay, the organizing the articles and citations, share them with the researchers, duplicate entries, and the format of the references, and search and replace of all references. Okay, so the major tools I will recommend you to use for reference management is the first one is primarily the Mendeley, the Sotero, EndNotes, and ReadQ papers. Okay, ReadQ papers. So I'm always using Mendeley for this particular purpose. So Mendeley is actually a software tool that I can use for different purpose. See, for using Mendeley, what you have to do is first you have to create an account in Mendeley. Okay. Is my browser visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
First go to the site www.mendeley.com. Okay, after that you can create an account. Okay, you can create a free account in Mendeley. Okay, sign in, create an account. Okay, fine. After creating an account, what you have to do is you have to download the application. You can have the desktop application as well as the mobile applications for using Mendeley in your client. Okay, see, can download after creating the account. We just log into it, then download Mendeley client. Okay, download Mendeley client. So if you go to this particular page, you can actually download Mendeley for Linux, Mac, as well as Windows, and you can also install Mendeley in iOS, Android kind of platforms also. So after downloading and installing this package, you can actually have an application in your PC which is called Mendeley. So see Mendeley desktop. First thing you have to do is you have to log in with the same username and password you have used in the web account. Okay, so you can see this. I have logged into this Mendeley, and then I can actually organize my literature review or the articles that I have reviewed in a very proper manner. So I will show you the use cases of Mendeley. To use this Mendeley, what you have to do is you have to first go to the mendeley.com, then create an account with Mendeley, then download the appropriate client. That if you are using Windows, download the Windows client. For Linux, Mac, Android, or iOS, there are a variety of client applications are there. So download it and log in with the same credentials you have used in the web. After that, you can organize your papers that I will show you in the later session. Okay. So Zotero is another option that is also good. EndNote and ReadCube papers are other very efficient tools that we can use for reference management. Okay. And the next is article writing tools. Okay. Article writing tools, that is one of the tedious tasks in preparing the articles is formatting the content, right? Formatting the content. So a research report shows what has been done while hinting at other areas needing systematic investigations. Okay. So whether you are writing an article, research paper, essay, blog, and dissertation or a PhD thesis, it is important to choose an appropriate writing software tool for your work. The choice of writing software comes down to your personal taste. It is completely up to your personal taste, but it is very recommended to use some tools for properly organizing and formatting your data, so that what the benefit is, you can focus on the contents you are developing, not the formatting process, because the most of the cases we always get messed with the formatting process. The figures will not appear properly, the tables won't be properly aligned, the text will jump from one page to another page. These are all the different issues we are facing while using the MS Office or Open Office or Google Docs. So it's completely your choice to use the tool, but I recommend you to use a tool called LaTeX. Okay, this is a very effective tool to generate high quality documents or articles. Okay, and even you can prepare PPTs with this LaTeX tool. You can have a software thing in your PCs, or you can have some online cloud solution for preparing LaTeX documents. So I will give you a demo on how can we use or how can we create documents with LaTeX at the end of this session. Okay, so it is very important to have a proper article writing tool. Okay, article writing tool, that is a text editor for creating our contents and formatting it in a proper way. Okay, so even though we are having MS Word, Open Office Writer, Google Docs, I recommend you to use, or I prefer uh, LaTeX to all other tools. And in article writing tools, when it comes to article writing, apart from the text editors, we have to use some other tools that will improve our writing. Okay, as we are not a native English speaker, or as we are not from the background of a native English speaker having, we will have issues in our writing. Okay, that we have to accept it in the way of the grammatical mistakes, or conveying the ideas in a proper way. We will have some kind of clustered or messy sentences. We always have the grammar mistakes and spelling mistakes. Everything will be there, right? So to get rid of that problems, we have there are we are having a variety of tools. Okay, variety of tools for that. And one of the best tool currently available is the Grammarly. Okay, Grammarly is a very wonderful tool that will improve your writing into another level. Okay, and Trinka.ai is another tool uh, that will give you the grammar corrections and beautification on your language. And the Quillbot is another tool which is used for paraphrasing, because it is very difficult to create everything from scratch. Okay, so you may take the contents from other research papers, blogs, or websites. But the thing is, when you include those contents directly in your paper, what will happen is you will have some kind of plagiarism. Okay, plagiarism is nothing but copying someone's contents to our work. Okay, so the Quillbot will help you to rephrase or the paraphrase that sentences in another way in your own research papers. So the Grammarly and Quillboards are actually a very effective tools that you can use while writing the articles, and Trinka is another tool, and Ref and Write also give some kind of grammatical mistakes suggestions as well as the beautification suggestions while writing. Okay. After writing the articles or preparing the papers, one of the major thing you need to deal with is plagiarism. Okay, plagiarism, as I said, it is nothing but copying some content from others' article to our own articles without properly citing it. Okay, or without properly giving credits to the source of that content. Okay, so after writing a paper, before communicating it into a journal or a conference, or submitting it for evaluation, the first thing you have to do is you have to check the plagiarism. Okay, you have to check the plagiarism, and there is a variety of tools for plagiarism checking. That is the most relevant tools, are the most impactful tools are actually Authenticate, Turnitin, Enago, Urkund kind of stuff. And I prefer to use Authenticate or a Turnitin. I will show you the example of the results of a plagiarism checking. Okay. This is the tool Authenticate. We have an account in CUSAT for this. Okay. So if you check this, see, this is one of my research paper. So after uploading and doing the uh, plagiarism checking process, you can see the results of this. It's having some delay, I don't know. Oh, yeah, got it. See, so whatever contents you have copied from other papers, it will be highlighted. See, you can see, right? So the fundamental period, or this is not much impactful. See, some sentences are directly copied. Okay, directly copied from some other articles. So you can see this content is taken from a particular website called www.tatfoline.com, and the exact sentence is there. Okay, so while preparing this document, the author simply copied the content to this and rephrases the, even though rephrased or the paraphrase, the authenticate is actually finding out the copied part. Okay, so it is very important to do a plagiarism checking process before submitting your paper. Then according to the report you are getting, you can actually improve, rewrite or paraphrase the sentences having the problems and resubmit. Okay, so if you look into this, first the article is having 37% plagiarism. After recorrecting, it is 36. Then again correcting, it is 29. And finally, we arrived at a 90%, 18% of plagiarism. Okay, so so what you have to do is, after each revision of your paper, you have to do the plagiarism check and ensure that there is not much plagiarism, because for most of the journals and conferences, the 20% plagiarism is allowed, but it is recommended to reduce the plagiarism rate to minimum 10%. Okay, so for that you can use these kind of tools, Authenticate or Turnitin kind of stuffs. Okay, the next tool we have to use is analysis tools. Okay, so in the technology area, or this, particularly in the case of computer science and all, this analysis tools are not much explored because we are always trying to implement something, some kind of algorithms and techniques. But in the case of evaluating some kind of theorems or hypothesis or something, you have to use some kind of statistical testing techniques. Okay, so we carry out research to test hypothesis, and we do that by getting hold of data. So hopefully, if our experiments are planned and executed correctly, we can get hold of good data that can tell us something unique about the world. Okay, so the SPSS, Excel, Minitab, the GraphPad Prism is particularly for the biological data. These are the traditional tools we are using for statistical analysis. And nowadays, the most relevant tools like Tableau, Power BI are there to give the visualization, the proper visualization of your data. And if you're handy with the programming stuff, you can do all the stuff, the visualization and the statistical stuff with the programming tools like Python, R, and Sash. Okay, so if you're not familiar with programming, you can use SPSS or Excel or some other tools. Okay, and these tools are actually proprietary tools. You can have the open source of SPSS as PSPP. Okay, PSPP. So you can have uh, open source tool equivalent to SPSS. Then simply you can use it in a free manner. Okay. So these are the case of analysis tools. And remind, if you are familiar with programming domain, then R, Python, SAS can be effectively used and can be very easily used. The difficulty while doing this SPSS, Excel kind of stuff can be excluded with this programming language like Python, R, and SAS. Okay. And the last part is the project management tools. Okay, project management tools. So it is so easy for your research project to go out of hands when you are multitasking and dealing with multiple deadlines. So if you're doing some kind of collaborative projects or something, it is very difficult to manage the tasks you need to do and review the completion of the task, everything. Okay, so it is a good practice to choose a project management tool to keep on top of your research project. Okay, and these tools can help you minimize the amount of time and spent on managing the project and instead concentrate on research work. So if you're using these kind of tools like Microsoft projects or Atlassian Jira, you can actually minimize the amount of time you're spending for managing the project. Okay, because project management is a very tedious task. Allocating the resources, uh, allocating the resources, scheduling the task, everything is a very tedious process. So these tools will help you to do these tasks in a very easy manner, and you can actually minimize your amount of time you need to spend of managing the project so that you can more concentrate on your research. Okay, so the Microsoft projects, Atlassian Jira are the good options for project management. There are so many other tools. That is, projects is another thing, and the red mine is another thing, and a variety, a couple of tools are there for the project management, and the widely used tools are Microsoft projects and Atlassian Jira. Okay, and the last one is the research networking tools. Okay, so if you're doing your research alone, you will take more time to complete it. That's the actual scenario. So it is always better to have a network or do some kind of networking with people who are doing research in your same domain, as well as some other experts. Okay, so for this research networking, we can actually use a variety of portals, online portals. The major portals we are using is ORCID. Okay, ORCID, Open Research Contributor ID. Okay, so whenever you are submitting articles in journals or in conferences, most of the journals and conferences will ask for a ORCID ID. Okay. And you can have a community in the Mendeley, and you can keep your profile in Google Scholar. I will show you my profile. So if you are using Google Scholar, you can Google Scholar. You can see your profile, my profile. Yes. See, this is my Google Scholar account. So you can see all the papers you have already communicated here. Okay. So you can sort the papers in year-wise manner. You can see the number of citations. You can see your H-index, the number of citations you got, all the co-authors. Okay, so you can keep a profile over here. Okay, you can see the related works for this particular or each of your works. Okay, so likewise, it is a uh, very useful tool to manage your research profile. Okay, likewise, you can have account in ResearchGate, archive.org, in Scopus, Publons. If you're serving as a reviewer, your reviewing credits will be available on the Publons. Okay, so on looking into the statistics by different researchers, you can see the Google Scholar is the most popular one. The ResearchGate is the other one. And for social science researchers, Google Scholar, Facebook, LinkedIn is the order we have. Okay. So, and the other miscellaneous tools you can use is for while preparing the documents. Definitely, you need to create diagrams or figures for your proposal, right? So you can use Microsoft Visio, diagram editor, or draw.io kind of tools for creating high quality figures and images. Okay, so I will show you this draw.io is actually an online tool. You can actually draw your diagrams. You actually draw your diagrams very effectively here. Suppose research process. Software tools. Okay. So you can create diagram very sim in a very simple manner or very easily, and after that you can actually download this. So import, export as PNG. Okay. You will get downloaded. See, the diagram is readily available for you. Okay, so you can include it in your Word document or a LaTeX document. Okay, so these tools are very useful while creating the documents. And the same thing can be done with Dia. This is an online tool, but this is a software tool, Dia, that can be installed in Windows or Linux. And Visio is another tool by the Microsoft. And after preparing all these steps, the final thing is you have to find out in which journal you have to, or in which conference you have to communicate your paper. Okay. So according to the journal quality, we have different indexing and abstracting services. The Scopus indexing is there. The science citation, the SCA indexing is there. Okay. And nowadays we are using the quartiles, Q1, Q2, Q3 kind of stuff. Okay. So if you are looking for a particular research journal, so in Scopus, there's a website called scopus.com. So you can create an account in scopus.com. Okay. So suppose you want to search. Okay. So you want to search. See, I have a journal. So Journal of Graph Theory. Okay, so this is a journal, and I want to check whether it is an indexed journal. Okay, Scopus indexed journal. That is, it should have, or it should possess some kind of quality. Okay, so for that, for checking that, you can see there's a number called ISSN 1097-0118. So in Scopus, you can actually choose the filter ISSN and check. See, it is present there, right? So Journal of Graph Theory is present or indexed in the Scopus. So we can rely upon this particular journal, but some journals like Journal of Computer Science. I'm taking some kind of journal. Okay.
Signal processing lab.
Taking this, if you take the ISSN, find out the ISSN here. Okay. Take the ISSN, and if you search here, is also listed. Okay, so some predatory or the fraud journals will not be indexed in the Scopus. So we must avoid that kind of journals. Okay, and another next level of quality measure is the SCA. Okay, so for that we can use Clarivate Master Journal Collection, clarivate.com, mjl.clarivate.com. So in that we can actually search. Okay. If you paste the ISSN here, if it is listing properly, so computer science AGS, if it is listing properly, it is actually emerging source citation index. So if it is listing properly, we can say that this is a genuine journal. Okay. So, and collectively to get all the information, you search into computer science directly in scimagojr.com, you can see so many details of this particular papers, and here you can find out the quartile. Okay, this is a Q4 journal. Okay, Q4 is having lower quality. Q1 is the best journals. Okay, so you can find out the different matrices for this particular journal using Scimag. Okay, so these are the other useful tools while carrying out your research. And for particularly computer science people, you can use DBLP there also, because if a quality journal is published, that will be listed in the DBLP website. Okay, and UGC care list is another thing. So many people will ask UGC care list. UGC care list. Okay. So if you look into UGC care list, there are two categories of, so it is under maintenance. That is two categories of UGC care list journals are there. First one is the part one, I think, or the category one and category two. The category one are some explicit journal names that is listed as a UGC approved journals, and the other categories, the category two is nothing but all the journals indexed in Scopus or Web of Science is actually considered as a UGC approved journal. Okay, so now the site is actually under construction. I cannot do anything. Okay, so these are the very useful online as well as software tools while doing your research, and these kind of tools will help you to perform your research in a systematic and very easy manner, and it will definitely reduce the effort you are putting on your management kind of stuff. Okay, then you can more concentrate on the research itself. Okay, so that's the first part of my session. So if you have any doubts, you can ask at the end of session. I will just giving a demo on what we have discussed so far. Okay. So now I'm taking a task. I'm going to write or I'm going to prepare an article on Pythagoras theorem, Pythagorean theorem. Okay, I'm going to prepare on Pythagorean theorem. So I'm just showing you how the variety of software tools or the online tools will help me to to create that document. Okay, to create that document. Okay, so the first thing you have to do is, the topic is there, the Pythagorean theorem or the Pythagoras theorem. So you are all familiar with that, right? So the first thing, I want to find out some journal articles or some contents related to Pythagorean theorem. Okay. So for that, I can use IEEE Explore. Okay. I have created. See, I'm taking a content from IEEE. Okay. Pythagorean theorem, I searched. So you can see so many relevant papers related to that. Okay. So I am taking two articles. The first one is from the Pythagorean theorem to the definition of the derivative function. Okay. So I'm taking this. So I can actually download this particular paper. See, I got it. Okay. So I'm saving to my desktop. Okay. So after collecting these documents, so you might have n number of articles to be collected, and I'm just doing it for two articles, Pythagorean theorem revisited. Okay. So I have two articles now. Okay. So the next thing is I'm using Mendeley to organize this. Okay. I'm using Mendeley to organize this. Okay. Mendeley to organize this. So here I have already downloaded so many papers I have already organized. So I'm just creating a new folder to organize this workshop. I'm simply putting it FDP. Okay. Within this FTP, I'm adding an article. Okay, I can add a file directly. I can add a file directly to this. Some Pythagorean theorem. Okay. So after adding the meantime, I can add another by adding the entry manually. Okay, adding the entry manually. So for that, I have a DOI here. Okay, so okay, you can use either DOI or the title itself. Okay, save. So there is no title and all here. So you can just right click and update details. So all the details will be listed automatically. See. Okay. And here also we got all the details. Okay. So if you are reading this paper, you can actually keep notes on this paper here. Okay. See, if you're writing if you are reading this paper and you are writing down the notes, you can keep here. Okay, on the notes part. Okay. And similarly for the next paper also, as we have not added the paper properly, it need to be downloaded. Okay, so you can keep all the notes related to each of this paper here. Okay, so what I have done is I have collected all my related documents. Okay, related documents. Now I have to do some experiments. Okay, so for that I'm simply using an Excel. So for doing the experiments, I'm doing in Excel. Okay, so here I'm taking the base altitude, hypotenuse, result, doing some experiments like I'm trying to verify the theorem. Okay, so the base square plus altitude square must be equal to the hypotenuse square. So I'm taking 2, 3, I'm taking yes. So this must be the root. This must be equal to 5. So hypotenuse square is equal to result. So I will do some experiments like this. Another thing can be 6, 8. It will be 10. So after that, I concluded that the Pythagoras theorem is correct. Okay. Now I have to report this. So I have done this experiment. I have to report this. For reporting, I have to prepare a document. Okay. So preparing the document, as I already said, I recommend you to use a tool called LaTeX. You can have a I have shared a document of LaTeX with the organizers. Okay. So creating the LaTeX, you have to follow some kind of steps. Okay. So I will show you a simple overview of this. It will again take another 1 or 2 hours to discuss all these steps. I will give you a glimpse of this. Okay. So why to use LaTeX, that I have already said. So LaTeX is actually a mechanism. Okay. That is, we are creating a document using some kind of HTML kind of codes. Okay. So you have to input a text file, dot text file. Okay. So there will be a document class, a style class, and some kind of bibliography and some other working files. All together, it will generate an output in a PDF form or a PostScript or a screen or kind of a printer kind of output. Okay. So in most of the cases, a LaTeX document will have a preamble, that is a kind of metadata, a document environment, that is the actual contents we are putting, and the special pages like bibliography, appendix kind of stuff. Okay. So you have a variety of software tools, that is TextMaker, Kite, LaTeX based Text Studio, MyText, LIX, TextWorks kind of tools for building or creating LaTeX document. But there is a single point solution. It's a cloud based solution called Overleaf that you can use online for developing the tools. So for creating documents with LaTeX, you just need to create an account on overleaf.com. Okay, overleaf.com. That is, you have to register and log in. Okay, so register with your email ID and password. It's very simple, or you can either sign in with your Google or Orchid account. Orchid, so hope you remember the Orchid account. Okay, and after that you have to log into it. So I will show you overleaf.com. Just go to overleaf.com. Okay, so when you log in, okay, you can see all the projects you have done with the LaTeX. Okay, all the projects done with the LaTeX. Actually, I'm using LaTeX for every kind of documentation. To prepare the question papers, I'm using LaTeX. For writing my thesis itself, I have used LaTeX. So it's a very flexible tool. If you start using LaTeX, you will simply ignore Word. Okay, so now I want to create a new project for preparing the Pythagoras theorem. So Pythagorean theorem. I can create a new document. So it will be a blank document first. Okay. So you can have the editor name, Dr. Shailesh Shivan. Okay. And here, this is the preamble part. Okay. So this is the preamble part. And this is the introduction. Okay. So instead of introduction, I'm just writing theorem. Okay. So next thing I want to do is I have to write the theorem. Okay. So I'm taking Pythagorean theorem from web. So I'm just copying it Okay, just copying it and I'm just pasting over here. Okay, so I have installed Grammarly here. Okay, I have installed Grammarly here. You can see in my browser itself, I have included the Grammarly, or you can simply go to grammarly.com. Okay. Grammarly.com. So here you can create a new document and paste the content. Paste the content. Okay. So if I make some kind of mistakes, it will show you the errors. See, area. You can correct it in this squares. There is a suggestion, of course, but that suggestion is not proper. We need not use it. Then we have to put the semicolon. So after correcting the, if I not putting the comma or something, like they will just suggest like, see, in mathematics. Okay. Okay. Fine. If I put the 3 like this, so the Grammarly will suggest to replace it to 3. So likewise, this will help. This Grammarly will help to improve our writing, and it will give a score over you. Okay, and you can also set the goal and what type of audience you are communicating this particular article, and is it a informal or a neutral or a formal uh, content, and the domain we are dealing with, and what type of article you are trying to write. So if you set all these options, you will get more suggestions on this. Okay, so now I have done with the corrections. After that, what I will do is I will paste it over overleaf. Okay, the next problem I am going to face here, that since I have installed it in web browser plugin, I can get the suggestions from here itself. Okay, no need to go to the Grammarly. Okay, so since I am copied this content from from the Google or from internet content, you might get some kind of plagiarism. So the next thing I can do is I can go to Quillbot, the paraphrasing tool. So you can simply paste your text. Okay, and if you click on paraphrase, what will do is, see, it will paraphrase the entire content. See, the same meaning will be conveyed, but it will be paraphrased. So after paraphrasing, again I am putting my contents here. Okay, so after that you can see my contents here. So next I have to put the equation. Okay, equation of the Pythagoras theorem. So for that I can use LaTeX equation generator. Okay, LaTeX equation generator. So this is another useful online code, because most of the people are not using LaTeX because we are having some difficulty with creating the equations and all. But this will help you to create the equations very easy manner. Okay, see, just click on it. I put the news square equal to base square plus altitude square. Okay. So after verifying the result, you can either download it as a GIF or you can simply copy this code and paste it over LaTeX. Okay. So putting the equations, I have to move to the math mode. Okay. So that is actually given in the slides I have shared with the organizers. You will get that slides. You can go through the basics of LaTeX there. Okay. So you can see here the hypotenuse square is equal to base square plus altitude square. Now I want to create a diagram for this particular task. Okay. So what I'm going to do is write a line. I need to create. I created a diagram. Here if I double click on the line, hypotenuse. I double click here, altitude is so I can also put some letters over here. Okay. Okay. So after that, what I can do is I can make this angle, bring to send backwards, send to back. Okay. So I can download this by exporting it into a PNG image. Okay. So I have downloaded it into my no. Okay. Next, what I have to do is the image is now downloaded. You can see. Okay. The image is ready. Now you can upload this particular file. Desktop. Upload this figure.png to my overleaf. After that, I'm putting the figure begin. Begin figure. Okay. So while using begin figure, I have to use package graphics as well as graphics X. Okay. Then you have to give the path, that is the figure .png. Then you can give a title, right triangle. I can give a label, RT. So if you compare it again, compile this, you see the figure. Okay, you can actually resize this figure by putting a parameter called scale equal to 0.5, and you can actually give the position of this figure. So I'm doing this for a demo purpose only. That is why I'm not explaining the things. Okay, so you can see the document here. Okay, and you can actually refer this figure somewhere here. Right angle to triangle, like rough. You can refer the figure here. Yeah, see, you can see the size of a rectangular figure, right angle to triangle, as in figure. See, you can see the figure number here. Okay. You can also add references to here. For adding the references, what you have to do is, it's very important because we have already organized the reviews in Mentalay. Okay. So from Mentalay, just select these two documents. After that, file, export. Okay. Export as references. Okay. So you will get a file documents. As desktop itself. So I can upload that zip file. Zip file is nothing but it will keep the references, okay, author name and other kind of informations. Desktop, actually you can see the reference dot bib. So in the reference dot bib, if you open this, see, you can see different articles, okay, and their details. So what you have to do is you have to import that bib, include that bib file into overlays. Okay. For that, I'm just uploading that big file. References.bib, and there's a script to include the bibliography actually. That is at the end of the document, you have to add a code like this. Okay. And the file names, references. It's the file name. Okay. After that, Pythagoras theorem, I'm citing here. For that, I'm just what is the name? There's a key that is this is the first content is the key. So you can use that key to reference and compile. Okay. So this reference will be created at the end. Okay, you need not to manage it explicitly, and this will be marked here. Okay, I can add the second reference too. Okay, the second reference I have added. Then if I again compile, stop. Okay, so the second reference will also be there. Okay, after preparing everything, you can simply download this. Okay, so I have the document here. See, now what I can do is I can check plagiarism for this particular document by uploading that. Shailesh is the author. Whose file? So I'm uploading that file in Turnitin. Yes. Opening it, and I'm submitting it for plagiarism checking. Okay. So after uploading and several minutes, you can see how much plagiarism is having in this particular document. Okay. So we can wait for that some time. So after getting this plagiarism report, you are actually ready with submitting a document. See, we can see the 61, it is having a 61 percentage plagiarism. Okay, so that is what I want to discuss with you all. So if you have any questions or something, you can now ask. Hope it made some kind of impact on you. If you're ready with your research contents, how easily you can uh, make your articles with these kind of tools.
Dear participants, now it is your time to clarify your doubts and pose queries. I hope all of you have benefited from this wonderful session by Dr. Shailesh sir. Please feel free to post your queries in chat box or else unmute your mic and ask questions. Sir, there is a question in the chat box. I shall read it for you. One second, sir. Oh, I cannot take it. How to fix the margin and line spacing in latex?
Yeah,
That was
there's a
one
class
question.
file. It's beyond the discussion of this particular talk. Even though you can have a class file along with every LaTeX document. In that LaTeX document, you can actually set the margins.
Sir, another question was there. That is, that person was asking whether it is safe to check our files using online, check plagiarism using online platforms, sir.
Don't do that actually, because use some authentic tools like Authenticate or this Turnitin kind of softwares. Otherwise, if you upload your document to some online tools, that will be cached over internet. So the next time when you submit your paper, when the journal people or the authority check for the plagiarism, that will be checked over your content uploaded in the web. So you will get 100% plagiarism for your document. So kindly don't do plagiarism checking online with some
Okay,
free
sir.
tools.
Okay, sir. Sir, I also have one query. Can you suggest some tools for text mining and NLP research, NLP related search research?
Uh, are you asking about the programming tools?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Any
actually
software framework or any such tools?
we have a variety of tools over there for Python. If you're using a Python programming language, the Spacey, NLTK are the most widely used packages. And in Java, you have Stanford NLP and Core NLP kind of stuff. And in Vecca also, now we are having the NLP modules. And also in R.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you, sir. Any other queries from the participants?
Other queries?
Sir, one query. Uh, is Turnitin a good plagiarism checking tool?
Yeah,
That is
according to
another
my
question.
knowledge, Turnitin is good. Because most of the universities over the world using Turnitin and Authenticate.
Sir, no more queries are available in the chat box. Um, I hope no more queries are there. Is the sir, one more question? Is the or I think there one word that is not clear to me, and Turnitin same, Oringal and Turnitin same.
Actually, I don't heard about this Oracle.
Yes, sir. I also new to this particular term. Then another query is management social science related articles available in IEEE journals, sir?
Actually, in IEEE, most of the papers are related with technology and engineering and science. But you can find out management and social science related articles in Springer, Elsevier kind of journals. Oracle, I will check. I don't know the authenticity of this particular tool. I'm first hearing this word actually. Actually, if you have any doubts or something, you can directly contact me. I will share my screen one more time. If you can have the contact details, you can mail or you can connect through LinkedIn. Okay.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your mail ID. I hope no more questions are there from the participant side. So now I would like to extend my sincere thanks to our resource person, Dr. Shailesh S., Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Science, Cochin University of Science and Technology. Sir, your session was very interesting, informative, and fruitful for all of us. The way you have demonstrated the things is really commendable. On behalf of Department of Computer Applications, FISAT, and all the participants here, I thank you for the sincere effort that you have taken for us and sharing your valuable knowledge with us. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now
Thank
I
you
would
for the
like to
invitation.
Okay, sir. Now I would like to thank all the participants who have joined with us and made this event a grand success. Last but not the least, I thank coordinators of this program, Dr. Sujesh P. Lal and Ms. Rosemary Matthew, for the smooth conduct of the session. Once again, thank you all.